Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for United Front The Call, how the Divine Nine can make change on Election Day and beyond. My name is Zaneta Lowe. I'm with WREG News Channel 3, and we welcome also to elevate the political IQ of more citizens and create a more engaged populace. Again, a three-night event, a virtual town hall. Our theme for tonight is social action and impact. Black Greek leadership. So again, welcome into tonight's virtual town hall from wherever you are joining us. We are pleased that you are with us tonight. With that said, I want to welcome in our host and co-moderators for the evening, Council Chair Patrice Robinson and Commission Chair Eddie Jones.
Thank you. We are so happy to be with you this evening. And I just want to say that I am so excited about what we're doing here on today. Just a little voter education. Want to share with you. We only have 2 more days to early vote. That is very serious. Here are just a couple of things I want you to remember. Wear your mask. Stay 6 feet apart. That is so important. But before you go to the polls, do your homework. Go to shelbyvote.com. Know where you're supposed to go, what precinct, the address, and the time that you're supposed to be there. 7 to 7 on election day. But for the next 2 days, you need to look it up and make sure you're there in a timely manner. Know who you're going to vote for. If you have any problem, ask for the manager at that site. We expect you to go and vote because your vote is your voice.
All right.
Yes, and thank you, Zaneta, for hosting tonight. To my soror, Patrice. Yeah, I'm going to have to get that in. You know, we're in a unique position here locally. I'm the chairman of the Shelby County Board of Commissioners. Patrice is the chairwoman of the City Council, and we're both from that blue and white family in the Divine Nine. And so here's what I want to say to all of the voters. Patrice, you put it out there perfectly. We don't need to repeat that, but this is about mobilizing what we're trying to do and moving forward. This is one election. So as we talk about mobilization and how we're going to interact with our citizens through our Greek organizations who all have similar creed in doing the right thing and serving the community. And so we just want to educate, but just a little bit more than educating. We want to also establish something in this election that carries forward into future elections. That's on a local, state, and federal level. And that's the message that we will be pushing out, talking about social impact and all of what we're doing.
So voter education, mobilization, getting people out to vote. And again, this is the first of 3 nights of this virtual town hall. For everybody that's just joining us, again, welcome in. I want to give just a little bit of brief information. I know a lot of people who are watching probably already know the two of you, but before we bring in our panelists that you all are going to speak to, I want to just give a brief introduction of the two of you, starting with City Council Chairwoman Patrice Robinson. Robinson was elected to the Memphis City Council in November 2015. She is a former Memphis City and Shelby County Schools Board of Education Commissioner. She was elected there in 2000, served as board president in 2004 and 2007, and served until August of 2013. While serving on the Tennessee School Board Association's Board of Directors, Robinson also served as the MCS Board Representative on the 2010-2011 Tennessee Legislative Network as president. Robinson has 30 plus years of professional experience in human resources, training and development, counseling, job development, and grant writing. She retired as a supervisor, assessment and development at Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. Robinson earned a Master of Science degree in Technological and Adult Education from UT Knoxville and a bachelor's degree in Business Administration with emphasis in Management and Industrial Relations from Memphis State University. In May of 2006, she was a graduate of Leadership Memphis, and in 2010, a graduate of Memphis Leadership Academy. She has served on numerous professional and civic boards. She serves on the board of Memphis Weekend Academy, Paula Rashford Ministries. She is the president of the Valleywood Homeowners Association, former correspondent secretary for the Memphis, Tennessee chapter of the Lynx, and director of women's ministry at Faith Temple Ministries, Kojic. And of course, as we already mentioned, a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. During her time on the council, Chairwoman Robinson co-sponsored the pre-K resolution in Memphis, worked to reestablish the Greater Whitehaven Economic Redevelopment Corporation, initiated the MLGW Share the Pennies initiative, and created the Weatherization Task Force. Robinson is married to Jackie Robinson, who we've heard her talking to already tonight. He had the honeydew list. And they have 3 adult children, 2 granddaughters, and 2 great-grandchildren. So everyone, again, a warm welcome for City Council Chair Patrice Robinson. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Shelby County Commission Chairman Eddie Jones Jr. was elected to his 2nd term as Shelby County Commissioner for District 11 on August 2nd, 2018. District 11, by the way, is comprised of areas such as Fox Meadows, Hickory Hill, Oak Haven, Parkway Village, and Whitehaven. So the 2 of them, for everybody out there watching, those districts overlap. That's voter education right there for you.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones is a lifelong resident of Shelby County and a proud graduate of Hamilton High School. He attended Shelby State Community College, majoring in criminal justice, and Tusculum College, where he studied business. Commissioner Jones works as a City of Memphis Code Enforcement Supervisor and is a former police officer with the Memphis Police Department. He's a graduate of the 2013 City of Memphis Emerging Leaders Institute certification and a member, as we already heard tonight, of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, Teamsters National Black Caucus, Shelby County Democratic Executive Committee, and was a 2008 Democratic Pledge delegate. Commissioner Jones says his true passion is advocating for children and for community service. He is an active volunteer and has served on many boards and helps out in a lot of different areas of our community. An executive advisory council member of the SCS Teacher Effective Initiative, president of Memphis City Council PTA, Juvenile Court Oversight Ad Hoc Committee member, Westwood Save Our Schools Committee, McCorkle Road Neighborhood Association, Shelby County Parent Advisory Committee, and Mount Vernon Outreach Ministries. He's married to Martell and is the father of 7, enjoying and counting, he said, the grandkids. And they are coming. When they don't give you a number, that must mean they are rolling along.
Yes, they are.
The commissioner and his family attend Mount Vernon Baptist Church, Westwood, where he humbly serves as deacon. So again, this is going to be an exciting night as our co-moderators, as you mentioned, in a very unique and special position tonight, get ready to have what we hope to be a very engaging conversation. Okay, so what we want to do now is bring in our first 2 guests. That we will have Miss Jackie Henley and Chris Ray. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to do a brief introduction and then I'm going to let them take it over. Thank you all both so much for joining us this evening. Jackie Henley is a native of Birmingham, Alabama. She moved to Nashville with her twin sister to attend Fisk University. At Fisk, Jackie and her sister followed in the footsteps of their mother and aunt by becoming members of the mighty Kappa Gamma chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. She graduated in 1997 with a Bachelor of Science degree in computer science. Jackie has worked in the fields of information technology, business intelligence, and graphic design for over 20 years. Presently, she is a senior IT programmer, analyst, and project manager for Results Technology Group. She is also the owner of J.Y. Henley Designs, a graphic design company. She is a member of the Music City Zetas Rho Alpha Zeta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Prior to her current role as the 16th Tennessee State Director, Jackie served as president, first vice president, third vice president, and chairman of the executive board, just to name a few of those positions. She says it has always been very important to her that members of her sorority understand that it is an honor that they have been given when they become Zetas. Jackie's numerous roles and accomplishments have enabled her to provide guidance, leadership, and promote sisterhood of Zeta Phi Beta sorority. So everyone, welcome in Jackie Henley.
Yay.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And Mr. Chris Ray. Chris Ray was born in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, but grew up in Spring Lake, North Carolina. He earned academic honors and was a track and field All-American. He attended East Carolina University on a full athletic scholarship. In 2000, Ray enlisted in the U.S. Army as a computer information technology analyst, and after 2 short years, he was commissioned as second lieutenant. Thereafter, he saw deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. His service and leadership in the armed forces earned him numerous military awards and accolades, including the Bronze Star and the Meritorious Service Medal. In 2011, Mr. Ray was elected the youngest mayor in Spring Lake, North Carolina's history, where he served 3 terms. Ray's leadership in Phi Beta Sigma fraternity began in the fall of 1996, where he was initiated into the Xi Nu chapter on the campus of East Carolina University. Over the last 24 years, he served as an undergraduate and graduate chapter president, international second vice president, international director of collegiate affairs, international director of technology, and 16th Southeastern regional director. And in 2019, he was elected international first vice president. Professionally, Ray is the president and CEO of Capital Impact Group, LLC, an organizational and leadership development consulting firm. For the last decade, he's also served as an adjunct professor, where he teaches classes on subjects such as organizational leadership, constitutional law, and cyber crimes. He continues his service to our nation as an officer in the National Guard, where he provides leadership in defending the nation's critical infrastructure from cyber attacks. Ray holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with a concentration in Information Systems and a Juris Doctor degree from William and Mary School of Law. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome in once again Mr. and Attorney Chris Ray. Mr. Ray, thank you so much for joining us. All right, Chair and Chair, I'm going to let you all take it away.
Okay, I want to say thank you, especially for our guests for joining us. So we're going to be on first name basis so that people will feel comfortable with us. Eddie, thank you for, see, these are my brothers and sisters. We can talk like this. And I want you to know Eddie came up with this idea, and I believe that it's excellent. And we're going to share on tonight, and we'll overwhelm our city, state, and country. I want to also share, Jackie, thank you for being here with me, my sister. My husband's name is Jackie. It's just spelled a little differently. And he is a man of Phi Beta Sigma as well. We got it going on in the Robinson household. We're going to get back on track here. So, our organizations were all founded on similar principles: civic and community uplift and engagement, being a main focus supporting the community and all that we serve. Our general welfare is for not just us, but for all. On tonight, I'd like to ask the first question to my sister Jackie. What is Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated doing to ensure members are using their voices as leaders to amplify our right to vote?
Well, you know that we call ourselves the Community Conscious Action Oriented Organization. And so as a result, we push initiatives all the time, you know, to make sure not only our sorority as a whole, but our members are working in the community, getting out the vote, getting people registered, getting us mobilized around any issues that we think are important internationally and locally. So our national programmatic thrust, however, is Zeta Get Engaged, and this is an initiative that we encourage the sorors, even during the pandemic, to get the word out into our community about the importance of this election. And we did that through having different webinars. We had chapters all over Tennessee actually doing drive-by registration, voter registration drives. And then we had another kind of drive-by where we help those with felony records to help retain their voting rights, things like that. We also had partnerships with the other organizations where we partnered to get as many people as we could registered to vote online. We like the NAACP. We had the Stroll to the Polls social media campaign that got our young people really involved, and they used social media to get the word out. And we also partnered with just recently with DJ D Nice with our international grand ambassador Valerie Hollingsworth Baker, and she co-hosted Club Quarantine, and this was during our Grand Boulé. And that was also a voter registration drive. So we've been trying to do as much as we could, you know, and stay safe to let everybody know just how important this election is and how important it is for us to get out and vote.
Okay. So there's another issue that I want you to address today. Healthcare and women's control of her own body, along with needed enforcement of civil rights legislation, is also on the ballot. How can we amplify this message with even more vigor to our members and their families?
Well, I know given that we are a nonprofit and we can't really so much so push the woman's right to control her body or the woman's right to choose issues so much. However, what we can do, I think we can do more in order to push a lot of the things and relate it to healthcare more so, and our health, the health of our bodies, and pushing those issues. I remember when we were, I guess that was 2008, 9, 10, when they were beginning to roll out the Affordable Health Care Act, and we tried to, you know, we had like these different town halls in our communities. We were charged as Zetas and our other groups. We had these town halls just educating our communities on, you know, how it works, and, you know, just to get buy-in even about the Affordable Care Act, and kind of let them know if we could do stuff like that to kind of, you know, talk about the healthcare issue and civil rights. You know, I think we didn't, a lot of us are not so educated on the issues that we didn't realize even that the civil rights legislation was being chipped away at, you know, and so much so that that's why this election is, in particular, it's very important, because we see how quickly things can change. We see how the whole Supreme Court has changed. So some of those things may very well go away, and we should do a better job. I think this election, we didn't do a whole lot in explaining the whys we vote. We just pushed the vote and why it was important that we vote, but we didn't really get, I think, really into the details when it came time to speak about the actual issues of healthcare, civil rights, and pushing that in the community. We could have done a lot more with that, I think.
But we're working on it and chipping away at it every day.
Yes.
Jackie, thank you so much. Eddie?
Thank you.
Yes, and Chris, how you doing? How you doing out there? So listen, Phi Beta Sigma has recently lost one of our brothers, a pioneer in the civil rights movement. And do you think that as we look at where we are now and what he meant to us, do you think that we can reimagine a way to re-engage disenfranchised voters?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you all for the invitation this evening. Always hanging out with folks from Memphis. The Memphis area is always good, and it's even more special when they're from the Blue and White family.
Yeah.
So now I know who I need to look up when I come to Memphis the next go round. So you all, thank you so much for this. So yes, this past summer, losing our dear brother, Congressman John Lewis, left a hole, not only for our organization but really for the world. So when you think about reimagining what our engagement is and what it could be, it was like a call to action when we knew he was sick, and recognizing that we now know that we have to pick up the mantle and continue to move forward. His message was very clear. We have a responsibility to make sure that the right to vote is always protected. We have a responsibility as an organization to make sure that the right to vote, that everyone has access to the ballot, that it is truly our most sacred and most important right that we have as citizens in this country, and that we have an obligation to make sure that we not only register folks to vote, because registering people to vote is not enough, but educating them on the issues that are on the ballot, educating them on the people who are running, and no matter what your affiliation is, but making sure that the people that are getting ready to vote know where those individuals stand. And then at the end of the day, we have a responsibility to get folks to the polls. And so through the efforts of John Lewis and his tireless efforts, it left a feeling of motivation for us, and letting us know that we have the next generation of us. We can't get weary, we can't get tired. We know what we have to do, and we are going to do that. And I've just been very proud of our fraternity. The theme of this administration from our national president, Michael Crystal, has been a brotherhood of conscious men actively serving their communities. And the theme is so powerful because in order for you to be able to move your community, you got to be conscious about what's going on. And there has been an awakening, especially this past summer, as it relates to our rights as just human beings. Being Black in America and being secure in who we are has continued to be challenged over the last 401 years. And the only way that we can address those issues that impact our communities, that impact our families, is that we got to go to the polls and we got to vote.
Indeed.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that and all of what you said about John Lewis. John Lewis talked about good trouble. And so what I want you to do right now is, and let me say this, good trouble is good, especially when you are going to the polls to vote. That's called good trouble. And then you can get you some more folks and get in some more trouble and take them to the polls. And those are the kinds of things that mobilizing and educating to get the vote out that we should do. And so I want to ask you this question. Do you think that Black Lives Matter is on the ballot as we go through this election cycle?
Absolutely. There's no question. And I think that, we have a responsibility to continue to always educate people that, we as Black people know that all lives matter, right? We know that. But what we do, what we've experienced is that we live in a country where obviously our Black lives continue to be challenged. That I am judged because of the color of my skin. It doesn't matter how much education I have. It doesn't matter, what I bring to the table. What you continue to see is just my skin color. And what some individuals end up doing is limiting the opportunities that I should be given, which allows for me to truly live the true talents that I have and be able to give them to the world. But there are individuals who close doors of opportunity to us because of the color of our skin. And if you are an elected official who is out there who is not aware of that, then you don't deserve our vote. If you're an elected official who is out there who doesn't believe that there isn't that systemic racism doesn't exist, you do not need to be elected. We need to have individuals who understand that there have been barriers that have been put in the way of people of color, and that they have to do everything they can to make sure that I have access to economic opportunities, that I have access to healthcare opportunities, that I have access to be able to be all that I can be. And if an elected official is running for office and that's not their message, that they're trying to level the playing field for all people, then they don't deserve our vote. So absolutely, Black Lives is on this upcoming election, on this ballots across the country, and that's why it's so important that organizations like Phi Beta Sigma and Zeta Phi Beta make sure that a part of our voting efforts is to always educate our citizens. We have to find ways, however we can, to make sure that people are not just walking up to the polls and just voting for individuals, that they understand that the judges that they're going to vote for, if you're going to vote for judges in your state, that they understand that these individuals are going to impact their lives and the lives of their children's children. Where do the DA stand? Where does the county commissioner stand? Does the folks on the city council, have they absolutely been putting efforts in place to make sure that the communities that they are representing that the playing field is being leveled? These are the kind of questions that we have a responsibility as organizations to educate our folks so that our citizens are able to look at these folks and look at their record and hold them accountable. So come November 4th, whoever, I hope that the person I vote for wins, and they can rest assured, come November 4th, I'm going to be holding their feet to the fire. And so we can't just get excited for 2020. We got to be excited for 2021. We got to be excited for 2022. We got to be excited for 2023. And it goes on and on and on. We cannot and should not let up after this election on November 3rd.
Absolutely. And I want to thank each of you for coming on, taking the time to spend with Patrice and I. It has been a pleasure for the both of us to see men and women in Phi Beta Sigma and Zeta Phi Beta who have moved up within those sororities and fraternities to stand out, stand up, and continue to advocate for all of the things that we've done in the creed of our organizations. And I truly want to say thank both of you for being a guest today.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Good luck to you all.
Yes, good luck.
Thank you. And we appreciate you.
All right, we want to say thank you once again to Jackie Henley and attorney Chris Ray, both bringing some wonderful pieces of conversation. Mr. Ray, I wrote this down. He said, in order to move your community forward, you have to be conscious of what's going on. So much said by both of them that I hope folks are able to pick up on. All right, let's keep this thing moving. We only have about 30 minutes and a lot to squeeze in. So I want to introduce our next two guests that you all are going to be talking to, Dulcinea Piggies and April Wadlington Hubbard. Good evening, ladies. How are you all today?
Good evening.
Good evening. Doing well, thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So I'm just going to do a quick introduction and then I'm going to hand it back over to our moderators for the evening. First, starting off with Ms. Dulcinea Piggies. She is a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. She has a bachelor's degree in social work and master's in psychology. She's currently active with Alpha Eta Zeta, the Memphis Zetas, where she's held the position of second vice president and chair of various committees. She became president of the National Panhellenic Council of the Memphis metropolitan area in January of 2020. NPHC Memphis financial secretary, she served as for 5 years prior to taking on that role and was named NPHC Memphis Greek of the Year in 2018. So welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, everyone watching at home, Miss Delcinia Piggies.
Thank
Yes,
you.
hey.
Hey, Thor. Thank you for having me.
The Zanes are just having a good old time, April. I just want to let you know now.
I love it.
Okay. Now to Ms. April Wadlington Hubbard. She is the founder and chief executive officer of Pink with a Purpose. The nonprofit was founded in 2011 to focus greater attention on cancer prevention and treatment, specifically in the areas of diet and nutrition. The organization seeks to educate at-risk populations about cancer and the related disparities, specifically around diet and nutrition and financial literacy. The idea is to promote early detection among men and minority groups and connect residents who live in low income and low access area to the proper cancer screening and treatment options. Mrs. Wadlington Hubbard she currently serves as the president of the Memphis alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She is the past national treasurer for Lemoyne-Owen College Alumni Association. She is a board member of the April 4th Foundation and Innovative Counseling and Consulting NP. She is also a member of the National Council of Negro Women and the Black MBA Association. Mrs. Wadlington Hubbard is an active mentor and political campaign liaison. Wadlington Hubbard was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. She is a graduate of Melrose High School. She received a Bachelor of Business Administration from Lemoyne-Owen and a Master of Arts in Human Resources Management from Webster University. Mrs. Wadlington Hubbard has been married to Chief Reginald Hubbard for 28 years and is the mother of one daughter. Welcome in Mrs. April Wadlington Hubbard. So again, welcome Delcinia and April. Chair and chair. Take it over.
All right. Ladies, I appreciate you being here today. I am so excited to have both of you. Since we're all in the Divine Nine, the Greek family, we're going to call you by first names on today. Delcinia, thank you for being here. April, I appreciate you too. So as I go through a couple of these questions, I want both of you to weigh in. Each one of your organizations work with young Black males and females. What challenges have you faced prior to and now during the pandemic in meeting their needs? Delcinia, you want to start first?
Sure. Prior to the pandemic, and of course also during the pandemic just simply made it harder because it's very important for us to remain safe and not spread it. But it was just a matter of getting them active, just making sure that they understood how important it is for them to be active members in society. And I will say, while I am representing the NPHC of Memphis, I know of an upcoming event that Zeta Phi Beta Alpha Eta Zeta is having, where they're attempting to get all of the youth involved with the election process by having a mock election that's focused on the youth, and that will be November the 1st. So it's just a matter of getting them engaged and letting them recognize how important it is.
Okay, thank you. I'm excited. Make sure you share with us before the afternoon is over how other people can become a part of that conversation. So, April, what do you all have going on?
Yes, well, as it pertains to the pandemic, it has been a bit of a challenge. It is difficult when you are used to the hands-on process. We must adhere to not only the local and state guidelines, but our national guidelines as well. Now, I can say that the Memphis Alumni Chapter has been extremely proactive. We hosted the Your Voice is Your Future Political Institute with high school seniors in collaboration with When We All Vote organization. That's one of the Michelle Obama's initiatives. And currently we are preparing for our virtual 2021 Embodied Conference for young men. So as I agree with Miss Piggies, we have to watch everything we do. Everything is virtual and we have to follow all guidelines, but we are being extremely proactive.
Okay, thank you. So, can you share with our listening audience today? Has your organization participated in any voter mobilization rallies, or have you led any voter registration initiatives or get out the vote initiative?
Well, I will start because, again, I am representing the NPHC of Memphis, and we do have 17 chapters that are very active with doing all type of initiatives, which include Alpha Memphis, and I believe you'll have President Woods on shortly to maybe discuss some more items. But they did a tailgate, no longer able to tailgate for the Southern Heritage Classic. So they did a tailgate for voting where they had music, um, food and t-shirts, and just encouraging people to come out and vote. And even if there were long lines, they would still be comfortable, along with t-shirts being worn. And I do recognize that a lot of the sororities and fraternities are doing a push on social media where they're encouraging everyone to vote and asking them to take pictures of them voting, and they're broadcasting that along with my mug. So there are just so many just subliminal messages that we're putting out, just reminding everyone to get out and vote.
Thank you.
Before I finish,
April.
I'm
Oh, I'm
sorry. I
sorry.
do want to add, because Delta Sigma Theta, Shelby County, I'm sorry, Memphis, no, Shelby County, I'm correct. Delta Sigma Theta, Shelby County, and Omega Psi Phi, Sigma Lambda Lambda chapter, they did 2 awesome videos reminding everyone to vote. So check out our NPHC Memphis page and you'll see some of the initiatives that they're doing.
Thank you, Delcinia. April, you want to share what's going on with the Deltas?
Oh yes, we're on it. Most definitely, Memphis Alumni Chapter has participated in strolls to the poll. Even as early as August, we did that as well on the local level, and also on the national level, the stroll to the polls, where we got over $1,000 voters per day mobilization challenge doing early voting. To get out the voters rallies, like she stated, taking the pictures, putting them on social media, still practicing social distancing as well. But all these processes will continue on through November 3rd.
Okay, thank you. So, Eddie, you want to ask this last question of the beautiful young ladies that we have with us this afternoon?
I don't know. It looks like they got a couple of more questions, so I'm gonna compound these questions, and
Thank you.
so that we can stay on schedule. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, April, Delcinia, here's the first part of the question. Black Lives Matter is certainly on the ballot. Is that a over or understatement? Keep that in your mind. Over or understatement, Black Lives Matters is on the ballot. The pandemic and the protests for the rights to have change in America. And as we look at this election cycle, particularly, what advice are you giving to your undergrads as well as your mentees to remain vigilant in these tumultuous times? So, that first one, Black Lives Matter on the ballot, over or understatement, and what advice are you giving to your undergrads and mentees to remain vigilant in these tumultuous times?
Well, I'll address the first question in regards to Black Lives Matter and basically feed off what Chris left us with, that it is very important that it is on the ballot. Whether it's an overstatement, understatement, it must be stated, because it is important that everyone, as an elected official, recognize how important Black lives actually do matter, and to ensure that whatever position that they have, it is to ensure equality, especially in the life of our Black individuals.
Chime in on that.
Yes, I agree with her as well. I think it's not an overstatement. We must continue to educate. Um, it must be on the ballot. I don't see why it should not be on the ballot. And I can go on and say, as far as remaining vigilant, my thing is to stay woke. Don't fall asleep. We
That's
must
right.
stay woke. is very important, because sometimes when they think that they catch us sleeping, they're going to ease something in there. So remaining vigilant is stay woke.
All right. And here's going to be the last question for you all. And so, no matter the outcomes of the presidential and senatorial races, this country is definitely in need of some form of healing and new strategies, possibly from a federal commission on reconciliation. Do you agree? April, I'll start with you.
Yeah, no, I want you to repeat that, please. Do we agree on? Say that again, please.
That we need a new strategy from a federal commission to the reconciliation, and that's
I got you. I agree.
Okay.
Because there's always room for change.
All right, Delcinia.
I definitely agree, especially in the wake of everything that has been going on, that has just been hurting not only the pandemic, but the social injustice. So yes, definitely time for change.
Most definitely.
Past time.
Yes, and I will comment on that as well. We've seen a lot of changes as it relates to voting when the pandemic and we were going to do mail-in votes and how that changed. You had a big change in the post office. People were afraid, but I think the pandemic has helped to get the votes out so that they were afraid that their vote wasn't going to count. And so they got up in mass numbers and said, I'm not trusting the post office and what's going on in America today. So we're going to get up. We're going to go to the polls. We're going to vote. We're going to wear our masks. We're going to social distance. And we will let our voices be heard. I want to thank both of you all for coming on, being our guest tonight. You don't know how much that means to me and Patrice. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Zaneta.
Thank you. Thank you again to Delcinia Piggies and April Hubbard. Some great information shared there. Another great piece of conversation. All right, we have talked to the ladies tonight just now, so we want to bring in our gentlemen on this final round for our moderators tonight. We want to welcome in Mr. Gregory Hassler, Mr. Vernon Woods, and Mr. Erwin Todd.
Yeah.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you all tonight?
Doing wonderful.
Doing very well. If we can answer the question or ask the question, we're doing great.
Okay, great. Well, let me say this. Thank you for patiently waiting. We appreciate that. I'm going to do a very brief introduction of the three of you, and then I'll turn it back over to Commissioner Jones and Chairwoman Robinson. So Mr. Hassler is a life member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. He was initiated in the spring of 1987 at the Mu Rho chapter at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. He served in various leadership roles in college and now serves as president of the award-winning Memphis alumni chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi. He has an MBA. Listen, my dad would kill me. The Memphis alumni chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. How about that? He has an MBA from the University of Texas, Arlington. He is married with 2 children. He has had careers in the transportation and insurance industry. He serves on the board of directors for a nonprofit Hot Foot Honey, Memphis's first and only professional cat company. Did I get that right?
Perfect.
And there's a virtual performance, I understand, coming up on November 13th.
Very true.
Wonderful. And you say there you are always focused on achievement. So welcome in to Mr. Hassler. Now, Mr. Vernon Woods. Vernon Woods was a spring 2013 initiate of the Alpha Delta Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Mr. Woods has been the chairman of several committees over the past few years and has been successful in raising scholarship funds for the Alpha Memphis Education Foundation. Mr. Woods was just elected president of the Alpha Delta Lambda chapter in May after serving as the first vice president over the past 2 years. Mr. Woods is also involved on the district and regional levels of the fraternity. He was named the 2019 Alumni Brother of the Year for the state of Tennessee, and he won the 2017 Augustus Witherspoon Leadership Award for the state. Mr. Woods is currently employed as a STEM teacher with Shelby County Schools at Frederick Douglass K-8 Optional School. Previously, he was a business teacher, athletic director, and coach at Mitchell High School for over a decade. Mr. Woods is a 1997 graduate of the University of Tennessee at Knoxville and holds 2 master's degrees from the University of Memphis. He has been married to his beautiful wife, Jacqueline, for over 22 years, and they have one daughter who is currently a student at Tennessee State University. So welcome in Mr. Vernon Woods.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Erwin Todd. Mr. Todd is the bacillus of the Epsilon Phi chapter of Omega Psi Phi fraternity here in Memphis. Erwin has been recognized for his tireless work mentoring and leading community drives and raising money for scholarships for the youth of Memphis, most recently being named the 5th District Omega Man of the Year. Erwin believes everyone should strive for work to inspire our youth to be confident in their abilities and value hard work. Erwin currently works for the Shelby County Schools as a community resource associate, where he assists families in the South Philly community to connect with community partners and other providers of resources. Erwin is a proud graduate of Jackson State University. So welcome in Mr. Erwin Todd. Once again, welcome 3 gentlemen, and I'm going to let, as I've been saying all night, chair and chair, take it over.
So I'm going to start this segment off here. And first of all, thank each of you all for joining us tonight. We could not have asked for a group that has come on to participate and to do and to hear the things that is going on in your organizations. And we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts, first and foremost, and for each of the organizations that you represent. And I'll start off, and I'm going to be like Patrice. We all on a first name basis here. So we're going to keep this moving ahead, and I'm going to start the questions off. So each of your organizations work with young Black males. What challenges have you faced prior to and now during the pandemic in meeting their needs? And I will start with Gregory.
First of all, thank you for having us. This is a tremendous opportunity. First and foremost, being able to connect with young males is viable for us to continue. And so we've got to find and develop ways to connect with them. Social media is blown up more so than we ever would have imagined. So the key is to keep them engaged, get their attention, and keep their focus on the right thing. So that was not necessarily a challenge before, because it's easy to find people that really want to do more. But connecting with them and understanding and speaking their language, that was probably one of the biggest things we've certainly had to overcome. And I think we did a phenomenal job in doing that. And in light of COVID, still making sure we keep them engaged and stay focused on their own achievement, their own personal achievement, and making sure that we've got a plan for them. And so the challenge has been there, but we've been able to keep their attention and keep their focus on getting better, getting through this together.
And so I'm just going to follow back up with a smaller question. So
sure.
For your fraternity, what are some of the things that your organization is doing to meet those challenges to
Sure.
mentor to these young Black males?
Sure. Prior to COVID, making sure that in our monthly sessions that we certainly, like I mentioned before, stay engaged with them and connect with them. In light of COVID, with COVID going on, increasing their knowledge in using the resources that we are currently using, like this one now, or Zoom or whatever, to find those activities that they would certainly be engaged in and they see the importance in it. Whether it's from the community service aspect that we all currently do, finding food baskets that we've done, partnering with churches, and providing for the communities. That's something that we all certainly do, and it's something that we really stay focused on. Virtual has been a challenge, but we certainly still try to do and stay engaged in the lives of our youth.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to go to Vernon. Vernon, here's your question.
All right.
Okay. Has your chapter participated yet in any of the voter mobilization rallies, and have you led any voter registration initiatives from your organization?
Well, yes, sir. I think Ms. Piggy's mentioned it a little bit earlier. Last weekend, or this past weekend, we set aside for our brothers to get out. We were at 10 early voting sites. Just doing grassroots things where we're on the corners telling people you can vote here, vote now. So we're at 10 different locations. At one of our locations, we had our Alpha Memphis committee where they held their tailgate. We've done that the last 2 weekends. This past weekend was at Glenview, and before that we was out in North Memphis area. So we gave away T-shirts, we gave away masks, sanitizer. We fed people that were in line for early voting. So again, we tried to think of different ways of getting out and reaching people. Making sure that everybody is exercising their right to vote. Now don't take this election lightly. We need to. We've heard the numbers that have been reported. Record numbers. So we just ask that people continue to get out, especially the next 2 days, and get out and get it and vote. Again, we're not telling you who to vote for, but we're just telling you to make sure that you're educated and you know what's going on with this election, and you understand just how important this election is for all of us.
Absolutely. And I'm going to turn it over to Patrice and let you pick this back up with Mr. Irvin.
Okay, thank you. And I want all three of the gentlemen that are here with us today, Mr. Irvin, Gregory, and Vernon, I want you all to share with the audience today. And my question is this overstated? Black Lives Matter too is certainly on the ballot. Is it overstated?
It's not overstated. And I don't think that sometimes it's not truly understood that Black Lives Matter. When we say that, Black Lives Matter too. We're not just saying that Black Lives Matter. For some people, it's just a fad or a style, or I feel that they're just saying it because it's the thing to say right now. But Black lives being very important, valuable to us, and should be to everyone else. There needs to be a reconstruction, so to speak, of the way people are perceiving us in this world. Unfortunately, racism is something that's international. It's just not here in the United States. People view us that way everywhere. So we are received and treated in a different way. But our lives matter very much so. And I don't think we need to stop saying it. It's not going to be understated, and we have to continue to push forward.
Thank you, Errol.
I definitely agree with him. Excuse me for interrupting, but I definitely agree with him. We definitely need to make sure that we emphasize, how much our lives matter. especially, I'm in the education field. So it's definitely something that we need to constantly preach to our young men and our young women. And also, I forgot to mention that we were just found out about an hour ago that we were awarded a grant from the Black Lives Matter movement. So be on the lookout for us picking up people. Yeah, yeah, picking up people to vote on election day. So that information will be coming out through social media. If you need a ride to the polls, we're gonna have rides for you. So again, we're just looking forward and we're excited about election day and still early voting.
Who do they need to contact? Give me a number, email address, somebody. Got to share that. That's important.
Yeah, we're going to have it out. You can look up memphisalphas.org. And like I said, we're going to be blasting it out on social media to let people know that if they need a ride, we will have transportation for them. So we're still in the process deciding if it's buses or if it's, passenger vans. But we're definitely getting people out, and we will be social distancing. So again, we want to make sure that we protect you also.
Okay, Gregory, Black Lives Matter. It's certainly on the ballot. Is it? Tell me, is it overstated?
It is certainly not overstated, and just like everyone has mentioned, and hopefully everyone that's on the panel before and even now understand that you can never overstate something that has been denied for so long in society. So, you've got to understand where this comes from. The fact that we even have to say it and ask the question, that ought to make everyone pause and say, whoa, wait a minute, it should have mattered long before. So us highlighting it now, don't be offended, don't be upset that we have to get this attention to make it right, because mistakes were made, throughout society. So it's a matter of correcting that. So yeah, it's on the ballot, and yes, it should be on the ballot. And there it is. It doesn't get any more simpler than that. If they could not have, they've denied being righteous and just for all these years. You've got to make that impact known. Like, yeah, you've done us wrong. We got to fix it. So yeah, it's always going to be a part of the ballot.
Thank you. The protest for right has changed America forever, as well as this election cycle. Particularly, what advice are you giving undergraduates and young people and your mentees to remain vigilant in this tumultuous time? I'll start with you, Gregory. We're starting over, all of you. Come on. We got 3 minutes. Let's get it out.
Well, I don't know. I think I need more than 3 minutes, but okay. All right. So
give me a minute each.
All right. I'll try and tailor it down.
Okay.
One thing that Kappa has done in reaching out to everyone about this important topic, young and old. Last week we had a Zoom broadcast where voices and votes of women count. We certainly want to get the influence of women, especially in these times, old, young, to make sure that their voices are a part of this discussion, and look at trying to motivate and figure out and talk about how to make sure everyone's vote is counted and everyone's opinion is counted, to try and get everyone to vote. There should not be a discussion or a person that says, well, my vote doesn't count. Being able to, instead of hearing that from someone, have something to say back in response to it, to somewhat challenge them and challenge that way of thinking. And so we do that in Kappa, we do that daily, and I certainly, preach it to everybody to kind of take that courage, have that courage to have that conversation with someone that may or may not, they feel that they don't have to vote or their vote isn't important. We've got to, all of us have to have that courage to challenge that. So,
Okay, Erwin, can you close us out? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I speak too much. I apologize for that.
No problem. I agree with everything he said, but we also have to tell our kids, our mentees, the undergraduates, to be intelligent and not emotional, to be methodical, to have a plan, to learn how to operate in the system. We support you in protest, but it's not just protest. We must protest and vote. There is power to vote. There's room for everything. We have to operate as a collective to do all parts. So we, as the older members of the organizations, have to understand that these are the same kind of protests that happened similar to what went on in the 60s. And a lot of people didn't understand, but they're out here protesting. Let's support, let's educate, and make sure you understand that you have to participate in all facets of the process. Because when it gets right down to it, voting affects you locally sometimes more than it does nationally. So we have to, make sure that they understand that we're with you. We just need to operate within the confines of being intelligent and methodical, so we don't cost ourselves any additional money, as well as we don't want anybody to get hurt, go to jail, or anything like that, if necessary.
Thank you, my brothers. We're closing out now. We appreciate you being here with Eddie and I. We're so excited about the Divine Nine and the work that you're doing in the community and encouraging everyone to go and vote.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you again. Thank you again to Mr. Hassler, Mr. Todd, and Mr. Woods, and in fact to all of our guests this evening. And thank you for everyone who is joining us and watching. But we want to remind you, tonight is just night one of a 3-night town hall event. So tonight we focused on social action and social impact, Black Greek leadership. You heard from leaders right here in our community, people who have worked on the state, national, and international level of the Divine Nine. So we heard from them tonight. Tomorrow, we are going to be talking about economic development in entrepreneurship and how voting and the impact of voting plays a role in that. And we just heard that question that you all asked of the gentleman there regarding youth. Thursday is the night you definitely want to tune in to a conversation about that, because that topic is speaking to the youth. So again, 3 nights, 3 things. We are just wrapping up night one of United Front, The Call. Thank you all so much for having me. It's been a pleasure this evening, and I will see you all tomorrow again, same time, same place.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zaneta.